So we're going to talk about the dirty of manifestation, okay? Because whenever I see manifestation on TikTok or YouTube or anywhere, right? It's like you think it and it comes to you. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to it than that. That is it in its simplest form, is whatever you put out, you're attracting back to you. And so you're manifesting it. So if every day you wake up and you're like, I hate my job, I hate my life, nothing good ever happens, well, that's the life you live in. It's that simple. Now, if you wake up every day and you're doing your best and you're saying your affirmations, boom, not enough people talk about affirmations and how they connect to spirituality, but doing affirmations is a huge part of manifestation, because you have to believe you're worthy of what you're requesting. You have to have good faith in yourself. You have to think of yourself as not only awesome and great, but as a good person. And it needs to be true. The more you work on yourself and the more you like yourself, not in arrogance, but in true liking, like you would like a best friend or a lover. That's how you need to like yourself. So part of getting to those areas is, number one, affirmations. Affirmations, so I know I just said this, but I have to hone in. Affirmations, one of the most important things you can do, period. Now, they're not just positive I am things. They're also, I let go of negativity. I don't take things personally. A good place to find affirmations for free is Pinterest. Go there. You can scan through. I love Pinterest. You have all different kinds of spiritualists posting to there all the time. This is not a commercial. I just really do like Pinterest. And you find things that sing to your soul. So some affirmations that work for me are not going to work for you. And that's a big part of spirituality and manifestation as well, is you have to do what works for you. So giving you an example, I'm a Sagittarius. I'm a very go by the seat of my pants person, but I meditate regularly. So a lot of what I do actually comes from my spirit guides. Even if we go as deep as like potions and spells and stuff like that, they tell me what they want and what is required, what they want from meditation. They tell me what they would like as offerings, Some spirit guides don't do that. My friend, she listens to all kinds of podcasts. She reads all kinds of books, and she really delves in and takes it from all different places and says, what sounds right to me? Now, I did that when I first started out in spirituality, and I still love my historical documents, my historical books. When it comes to potions, manifestations, spells, things that are a little bit more, you can make them your own, I make them my own. As you delve deeper into spirituality, some people still need rules. They still need things set up a certain way, and that's just how they function. So you may see this a lot from a Capricorn, from a Cancer. Like my friend is a Cancer. She likes to have things from a lot of different areas to decide how she's going to do something. And I don't mean like history or facts. I'm talking about something as small as purple. Purple means royalty and spirituality and higher self, and purple has a lot of meanings. But a lot of people use purple lavender for calm, to relax, and that's great. But I also use lavender in spiritual spells, spiritual potions, things like that, because of the color purple. Now, some people would be like, oh no, I would never do that. But I like how lavender makes me feel, and I like how it works in spells, but that may not work that way for other people. So that's kind of where I'm heading with that. Something minor like that. Not something, a set of rules. Like, for instance, my spirituality led me to a closed practice that I don't belong in. Nope, that's not what I mean. Closed practices are closed. So unless you are a person of that ethnicity that belongs to that closed practice, you shouldn't be touching it. Period. That's period. Going back into manifestation. So affirmations. And I recommend if you have a lot of self-doubt and self-dislike and self-loathing and everything like that, really writing them down, really doing things that make you Feel those things like, I am beautiful. Well, what makes you feel beautiful? Do the thing that makes you feel beautiful. Feel that feeling. Hold on to that feeling and bring that feeling back to you, right? You need to bring that feeling back to you in order for you to start to believe it. Now, affirmations go hand in hand with shadow work. A lot of people ask, like, what is shadow work? And for those of you that don't know, it is working on yourself in the deepest way. So shadow work, a lot of it's done through therapy. Therapy is shadow work. Shadow work is therapy. They are one and the same. Because if you aren't working towards breaking through your trauma or figuring out yourself or those types of things, you don't know what to manifest to have as what's best for you. So for instance, when it comes to trauma, you may have, I'm going to use an example, and this, like, I guess maybe a trigger warning, but let's say you were emotionally abused as a child. You weren't given any toys or presents, and you barely had any clothes. As you get older and you start to make your own money, you may become a hoarder. You may, have all kind, or not even a hoarder. You may collect collectible toys and clothes, and those things become sacred to you. Those items become, my treasure, because you relate them with a feeling you never received. So some shadow work you're going to have to work on is, you can have your belongings, you can have those things and love them, but they need to not, if they were to disappear, you need to not fear that. You need to be able to find that feeling on your own. You need to be able to work through the trauma that made you believe that these toys or these items or whatever make you whole in some way. That's shadow work. You would do that with a therapist, or if you can't afford a therapist, or you would like to start the road alone, that's feasible as well. I'm going to hit back to Pinterest. Pinterest is a great place to look up shadow work prompts. Shadow work prompts are a great way to begin, and they may help you decide, I need to do this with a therapist. One question that, like a good shadow work question is, if you could tell your childhood self anything, what would it be? And in that, when you think of these questions, so for this question, you go back into your childhood, okay? And what was something that you worried about as a child? What was something that concerned you, or something you thought would never happen, or something you wanted and you never thought you'd get, or you would get and you didn't get? All those things, right? And for me, so what I would tell my younger self is, people are going to dislike you no matter what, if they're going to dislike you. Like, if you are your true self, and you, no matter what you do, no matter how you work through things, because for me, growing up, I wanted people to like me. I'm a Sagittarius, I'm an extrovert, and that's what I wanted. As I started to work through my trauma and go through my shadow work, I realized it doesn't matter what I do. There are some people that just aren't going to enjoy my company, and that is okay. It's all right. And I tell my childhood self, my younger self, even in my early 20s, I tell them, like they're because they're inside of us. Our child, every age that we were is inside of us, and we have to tell them it's okay. We're okay. And I've told my younger self during meditation that some people just aren't going to like you, but the ones who do, they get you, they see you, they actually see who you are. And that healed something. It made something golden inside me that I just realized that it is what it is. And you can let go. So shadow work prompts, and you don't have to write them down. You don't have to, you can. A lot of people like to journal it, Me personally, I do journal some, but I like to sit and think. So I come outside when it's cold out or whatever. So I'm building a tiny house with my partner, and the tiny house is not complete, so our porch isn't done. And it's too cold to sit outside. So sometimes I just come sit in the car and I stare. And I'll give you guys a little view here. Hold on, because I'm doing this live. Well, not live, but you guys know. I come and just stare at the view. And I think of these questions. That view really helps me connect to Mother Earth. And sometimes, like, I'll move the car and, like, sit other places and, you know, just sit with the car off and really, you guys can hear the wind right now. Like, sit with the window open. I dress warm. I'm adjusting the camera. And it gives me peace. So that's the third part, but I'll get there in a minute. The third part is Mother Earth, but we'll get there. When you do shadow work, there are so many ways. So we've talked about therapy, we've talked about prompts. Another way is I like music therapy. Okay, so what I do is I was born in 1987, so the 90s were huge to me and a big part of my childhood. But not even the early 2000s. I graduated in 2007. So I go through music from when I was young or different parts of my life. It could have been from 6 years ago, a song that brings something up to me. And I listen to the music and I feel what emotions come to me or what memories or thoughts. And I delve into that. I really delve into those memories, those thoughts, and get in deep. And I work through them. And I ask myself, so for the longest time, Adele made me very sad. And I realized, when I started my real big shadow work journey, I was like, I'm going to do Adele. Her voice is beautiful. I love listening to her. And the song "Someone Like You" reminded me of one of my exes, but of our relationship, because I had come out and I was holding on to him for heteronormity. Like, it was so strange. And I didn't realize that until I put on "Someone Like You" and I was doing shadow work. And I'm like, this song reminds me of being straight in some weird way. Like, that makes no sense. I'm not saying compare the lyrics. I'm saying take it back to the memory. And sometimes the lyrics spring something up inside of you. Go with it. Go with whatever comes, right? Unless, don't harm yourself or anything else. You know, those are always the rules. But really focus on those things. Focus on what emotions that are bringing you up, like bringing up inside you. So music therapy is huge. And so those three ways are the top three. And if you guys have further questions, please comment below. I would love to help you further with shadow work. And I'm going to do a full video on shadow work with some examples and those types of things. But yeah, and affirmations. So those three pieces are huge. I mean, those two pieces are huge. And therapy. Don't be afraid of therapy. If you were sick, so if you had a cough, you go to the doctor. If you have things you need to work through, go to the doctor. Your mental health is important. So another piece of this is connecting to Mother Earth. Okay. I stare at the view that I have because I look at the birds, I look at the grass, I watch the wind blow, I think about what the bird's doing, like all these different things that come to mind. And I do it when I go for walks. And there was a study done by Psychology Today, the magazine, and it was talking about how even people having fake shrubbery around them improves their mood. That's amazing. So we have real shrubbery around us all the time. Get out, go for walks. Go for walks. And if you can't walk, if you're differently able, there's different things to do. Get some plants inside your house. When I lived in Arizona and it was too hot, it was so blindingly hot sometimes, I would turn on YouTube and I would find YouTube videos of nature that people took, and with the real sounds and everything, and watch them and focus on them. And it helped. I don't want to say it was the exact same way as it was as being outside, but it really, really helped. Because in Arizona, it's like the desert, unless you're born and raised there. For me, I was born and raised in Kentucky, which is green almost all year round. Being in Arizona, really, it wasn't my place. Like, it just felt strange. Like, I needed grass, I needed greenery, I needed animals, and Arizona doesn't have a lot of that. But being a part of Mother Earth and watching things and coming across things and watching flowers bloom and seeing the grass, and you realizing that these things happen whether we're here or not. Mother Earth will always take things over. If we were to all die out tomorrow, it'd be 100 years and you wouldn't really know that we barely existed. The grass would grow and vines would grow and things would be as they are. We are made of the same things as the stars and the dirt, and we're all one. Mother Earth helps you realize that. Nature helps you realize that. We are all one. We are the same as our deities. We are the same as the trees, as the birds. It's all a big quilt. And we are a piece of thread in the quilt. So that helps with the understanding. Now you put all these things together. And when you start to work on yourself, start to believe in yourself, start to connect to Mother Earth, start to see how things are and what we're given, we move on to gratitude. What are you grateful for? Because once you see these things, so the affirmations, you're grateful that you're smart. You're grateful that you know how to work past things. Your shadow work. You're grateful you survived your trauma. You're grateful that those people are no longer in your life, or you're grateful that this person abided by the boundaries that you set. We move on to Mother Nature. You're grateful for the food you receive. You're grateful for the sun and the sky, because if we didn't have the sun, we would have nothing. And the clouds and the ocean and all these things that bring us joy. You're grateful. This is the mixture that's needed to manifest. Because without all of this, you don't know what to manifest. You don't know what to put out into the air. But when you figure out what you're truly grateful for, things start to happen. And an example of this for me, I was in corporate America getting emotionally abused by my boss, working to save my employees because the upper management didn't care about them. And I was getting sick. I was starting the stages of my lupus appearing. And I had a great big golf ball sized fibroid on my uterus, or inside me. It was like in the walls. And I was in Arizona at this point, and I didn't know about the golf ball size thing, but it was there at that point. I just didn't know about it yet. And I was so sick. You guys hear that? It's the wind going through the barn. I love that sound. But I was so sick that my partner and I had tried to apply for some part-time work to come home, stuff like that, but it didn't pan out. My partner ended up getting a job back home that was better paying. So we moved, and I didn't have a job, and I was really sick and really depressed, and I was super spiritual at this point still, but it was still rough. And that's important for you to know, is even after you have ego death, spiritual awakenings, it's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be sad. Even though you know these things and you trust these things, you're still a human. You still have feelings and emotions that are there that you can't control, that you need to work through. We came home, and I sat down, and I started to work out what I wanted. And what I wanted was to be an activist and a spiritual practitioner. That's where my heart was. At that point, I had maybe 1,000 followers on TikTok. And I sat down and I said, I want 40,000 followers. Actually, I said 30,000 followers. I want 30,000 followers on TikTok. I want, I was already doing readings, but I'm like, I want to do readings on a regular basis. And I want to get my own business up and running. I want my tiny house, I went through and I listed all these things, and I wanted to change the world. So where I am right now, this was 2 years ago, I have 42,000 followers on TikTok. I do readings regularly. My tiny house is halfway through being complete. Things have been caught up, but I'm grateful. I feel like I change the world a little bit every day, but things are really pushing forward. I've educated myself so much on white supremacy, on the patriarchy, and how to help people of color. I'm more comfortable in my skin than I've ever been. And this is just the beginning. Those are the things that I've manifested so far in my life, and I'm fucking proud. You can do it. It's a matter of knowing what you need to do and knowing where your higher self needs to go. It's not manifesting a lover. It's not manifesting a job promotion. It's manifesting what is the best road for you to walk down. You got to be a little, I don't want to say vague, but you got to give the universe room to do what it needs to do. And if a lover's on the path, a lover will present themselves. If they're not, they're not. If that promotion is on the path, it's on the path. But you have to feel out what's right. You have to feel out what's best, and you have to do the work. Now, once you get to that point, it's about writing down your manifestations and reading them on a regular basis. And then letting them go. Right? After you read them a couple times, you go about your day, you go about your life. You don't sit and dwell. It doesn't work because all you're asking, you're sending dwelling energy. You got to live, be grateful, do everything you're doing. Put your manifestations out there and let them come back. You can't push, you can't pull, you got to exist. You do the work, you ask, you exist. It's that simple. And you have to have gratitude in the middle. If you guys have any questions, please leave a comment below. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you that watch this. And I'm just grateful in general. And I want to thank you.